Neighborhood Housing Strategies Oversight Committee on the 14th of November. It's Thursday. Welcome to a darkened, wet, rainy, northwest kind of night. That's what we do. So for those of you who are here, that's why we have soup. That's why we have some soup and some chili and some cornbread and all of that good stuff. For those of you who are not here, we have some soup and some chili and some cornbread and all kinds of goody stuff. We've got a couple of people that are going to be coming to join us in a few moments. We will officially get going in just a second, but I wanted to say good evening. Thank you for being on camera or on Zoom and ready to go. And those in the room, we've got a couple of new introductions tonight for the committee, and I'll give an opportunity for that to happen. But thank you for being here, and we will be back in just a few moments. We've got a full agenda for the night. Many things to cover. Welcome in again to the Northeast Neighborhood Housing Strategies Oversight Committee, because we just didn't have enough names to put in there. I'm Dr. Stephen Holt. I chair the committee, and I am going to do a real quick committee roll call.
Recording in progress.
Excellent. And thank you very much for starting the recording. I see Miss Sheila online. If you can unmute and just identify. We
Did
can't.
you hear me?
No, we
Doctor?
didn't hear you.
I said here.
Hi. Hello. Thank you. And then Miss Jillian Siraj.
I am here.
Hi, Jillian. And new to the committee tonight, I'll give an opportunity for a brief introduction. Kevin.
I'm here.
You
My
are
name
here.
is Kevin Dolezal, new to the committee, excited to be here.
We're glad you're here. And you, just give us 30 seconds about you.
Sure. Live in Northeast Portland for about 4 years now. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. Lived in Texas and Wisconsin and California for a while before settling here in Portland with my wife. Love to cook, be outside, camp, listen to music, read, and really, just excited to be a part of this and help all the great work that all of you are already doing, and see if I can help advance some of that. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely glad you're here. And right next to you, another new person to the committee, Ramon.
Hello, my name is Ramon John, or I'm here, sorry, I am here. My name is Ramon Johns. I have lived in Portland for 7 years, but I've lived on the Northeast side for 6. Originally from Detroit, Michigan. I went to school at Mississippi, and yeah, you probably can find me lost on the many trails here in Oregon somewhere, or somewhere with my dog, but I'm happy to be here and contributing with the rest of you folks.
Excellent. Good to see you. Miss Virgie.
Here.
Wonderful. Glad you are. For those of you who may not know, Miss Virgie has been a part of the committee since its inception. She is an original member that has stayed with the process now for 10 years. It's pretty incredible, right? It's fantastic. It's fantastic. So tonight we've got a full agenda, many things to cover. We will begin with the director's update. Hi, Helmi.
Hello. Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. I'm Helmi Hisserick. I'm the director at the Portland Housing Bureau. And I want to begin, first of all, by saying I apologize. I was not here last month. I wasn't feeling well, and I really appreciated Leslie handling things for me, and I'm very glad to be here tonight. The first meeting I was at, which was 2 meetings ago, I told you that we had some positions that we were recruiting for the executive team at the Portland Housing Bureau, and I'm really pleased to say that we have filled both positions, and I'd like to introduce our new deputy director, Angel Landron Gonzalez, who I believe is here. I don't know if he's in the meeting. It's on Zoom. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Angel and then ask him to say hello. Angel has served at the Portland Housing Bureau as the Finance and Accounting Manager since 2022, so he's been a promotion from within, and we're all thrilled to have that happen. He has been managing a budget exceeding $300 million and overseeing the payroll for the 87 employees of the Portland Housing Bureau. He began his career in the private sector, but he felt called to serve the common good and moved into the public sector with his first role for the Puerto Rico teachers' retirement system. He moved up to the Pacific Northwest in 2017 and worked with Multnomah County Health Department as a budget and finance manager, and he helped navigate the pandemic. At PHB, he's known among the team members and his colleagues for his optimism, rigor, and encouraging leadership style. He has an MBA from Walden University and a BS in accounting from the University of Puerto Rico, and we're really pleased to have Angel step into the deputy director role. So Angel?
Thank you so much. Helmi, can you hear me okay? Thank you. As Helmi mentioned, my name is Angel Landron Gonzalez. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a proud Puerto Rican / Latino. Yes, I just want to express my gratitude and for the beautiful and meaningful work that all of you have done and continue to do. I have been with the Bureau, as Helmi mentioned, for 2 years. And every time that I participate in your meetings, I'm reminded of how important and impactful our work at the Portland Housing Bureau is. Your contributions and commitment inspire me and the entire staff to keep us moving forward. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Looking forward to continue working along your side and be inspired with all of you every day.
Thank you, Angel. We also have with us, and he's here tonight, our new Policy and Planning Director. His name is Josh Roper. He came to us from the city of Philadelphia, where he worked for the city government for over 10 years. And since 2021, he served as the Policy Director for Health and Human Services and at the Managing Director's Office in an executive role supporting health and human services agencies. And he developed and advanced a cross-agency policy agenda focused on economic mobility, health and healthcare, housing, safety, and trauma prevention. And we're really pleased to have him step into the role as Director of Policy. He is an attorney. He holds a JD from Harvard Law School, and Master's in Public Policy from Princeton School of Public and International Affairs, and a BA from Yale University. So he's quite a smart guy, as you can see by his education, but really, really also very humble and brings a lot of depth to our team, and we're really pleased to have him. And I just want to ask Josh if you'd like to say anything.
Josh, come on up to the center right here and have a seat. And there's a nice little button. If it's red, push, and it should become green, and we can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me? Yep. Great. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Helmi. Josh Roper, he, him pronouns. And I am, as Helmi was saying, new to this role, new to Portland. So had been in Philadelphia for 10 years working for the city, and before that, lived there for a few years, and then DC before that. And I'm really excited to dig into this work and to dig further into the connection points between the work I've done in the past and affordable housing, both on the sort of development side and the other aspects of the Housing Bureau's work. And I'm very interested in the work of maintaining and building out dialogue between government and community, which I know is central to what you're all engaged in here. So excited to learn more about opportunities for that kind of engagement. So thank you. Looking forward to the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
So that brings us just to, you have the entire executive team of PHB here tonight. Leslie Goodlow, who's our anchor, who is our long-term Portland, born and raised in Portland. So she brings the depth of experience and expertise and knowledge of the city. Josh and I are both relatively new. Josh from Philly, I'm from Los Angeles, but really, really pleased to be here. And Angel, who's our sort of midfielder, he's been here for a while and he knows the city quite well, having worked here for a long time. I'll just say that 3 of the executive staff identify as people of color. I'm the outlier, but we are all deeply committed to the core principles of anti-racism and equity. We're all pleased to be here tonight and also really committed to the North-Northeast housing strategy. So really glad to be part of this community. We have another exciting staff change I want to mention because Shariah Foster, who is our Housing Assistance Program Specialist, who's been working on the North-Northeast preference policy for some time, has been promoted. So we're really happy to have another internal promotion. Yay, Shariah. Are you online, Shariah? Good. Oh, wonderful. And so the sad news is that Shariah is going to be leaving the preference policy team. She's taking up a new role as an analyst in our risk and compliance team, but we're really excited. And maybe Shariah, if you want to put your camera on and say hello, or maybe goodbye to the team here. We really appreciate the work you've been doing on the preference policy. Will I see her name? No, not yet. Okay, that's all right. We'll keep going. She's been wonderful, wonderful part of our team. That means, though, that we now have an open position. We're recruiting for the North-Northeast preference policy team. And so if you know folks, it's a good sort of entry position into the Portland Housing Bureau, into city. And we certainly like to find folks that are committed to the work of the North-Northeast preference policy. Two last things I want to just mention before I hand it back over is we have the city adopted on October 30th, 6 new tax increment financing districts, or TIF districts. And so those TIF districts, 3 of them are in East Portland and 3 of them are in the central city. And I'm not going to go into detail because there is a full report on the city website. I do have a little information. What it means, though, is over the course of the next 30 years, there will be $1.1 billion for housing in those TIF districts. So those are really important engines for continuation of affordable housing. There will also be another $1.1 billion for economic development and urban development, specifically for small businesses and job creation work, and then another $384 million that is estimated for infrastructure investments in those communities. So it's quite a big economic impact over the course of the next 30 years here in Portland. And then lastly, I just want to comment on the elections. The elections, we know that it's confirmed that the new mayor of Portland is Keith Wilson. We have 12 new preliminary results for the council. And in the North-Northeast, you may know that the representatives that are currently not confirmed completely, but are Dan Ryan, current city council member, Ilana Pirtle Gwinny, and Samir Kanal. So I don't know any of them. Some of you may know these folks, but these are the local representatives, and they will be certified. The elections will be certified on December 3rd. So officially on December 3rd, we'll have our city council seated. And then between December 4th and February, they will be having an onboarding process. So they're going to start to be educated in the work of the city and begin their training, essentially, to become knowledgeable about how the city works. And Leslie Goodlow is working on the onboarding, and she'll be helping to put together a tour that includes some of the properties in North-Northeast Portland. So we really want them to understand what has been taking place here for the last decade, at least, I guess fully decade. So so I want to thank Leslie for her leadership and helping us get through that, and just make sure that we're telling you that we're all kind of excited about the new leadership of the city and sort of engaging them on the work of the Housing Bureau and of the North-Northeast area. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Helmy. Any questions from the committee? I see John Washington has joined us online. If you would acknowledge your presence, sir.
Good evening, Taco.
Good evening.
Members, I'm in transporting from one place to another right about now, but I just needed to make this meeting because it sounds like it was something important to do. So now I'm going to listen, but boy, it sounds like some serious change going on.
That is for sure, locally, nationally, and within the organization. Let me congratulate Angel. Angel, congratulations, my friend, on your promotion. Appreciate you, your leadership, your commitment. And then Josh, good to meet you. Welcome to the city. there's a lot of work to do, and excited to see what happens and as we partner together to make lasting changes. Thanks, Helmi, for the report. What a great report. And Leslie, for your continued leadership in anchoring this work here in this city. It was a true thing. I've said it before, I'll say it briefly, that I don't think we'd be here. In fact, I'm extremely convinced we would not be here had it not been for the consistent push of Ms. Goodlow from the inside to help us do things and do them the way that we've done in an accountable and transparent way. So we now are going to move forward to the neighborhood housing preservation updates. John and Ira.
Good evening, Oversight Committee. My name is John Chen. I'm the Neighborhood Housing Preservation Manager.
Good evening, committee. My name is Ira Bailey. I am a housing program coordinator.
And tonight we're going to present to you in terms of home ownership and also home repair. So I would pass it over to Ira to start.
First, welcome, Kevin and Ramon. You're a part of a great team. And thank you for joining. The advocacy of the Oversight Committee has allowed us to make some great strides in supporting home ownership through the preference policy. I would like to start off. Next slide, please. All right. So this is kind of a to-date recap of how many homeowners we have helped with the preference policy since 2016. We have been able to support 127 families total through the preference policy, 116 specifically with some sort of subsidy, either a down payment assistance loan award or being able to secure housing through one of the affordable home developments. As you can see, the spread of where people purchased and the resources that they used, we've had 38 folks use PHB's TIF dollars, tax increment financing, and purchase in the ICURA. We've partnered with Prosper Portland to help those families who have a slightly higher area median income or income per household. We've helped 16 families. We helped 2 families purchase in the Lentz tax increment financing area or urban renewal area. And then we've helped 24 families purchase citywide outside of those URAs or urban renewal areas. And then we've been able to support 33 families to purchase in the new development condos. There were 12 total units in the Olin project or Olin development. We were able to get 12 families in that one. And then there were 30 total units in the Kenton Commons condos, and we were able to secure 21 families in those units as well. There were 11 families who did not use PHB subsidy, but were able to get some other type of subsidy to be able to purchase, but they did benefit from the counseling and the homebuyer education that we help fund through the preference policy in partnership with Portland Housing Center. And if you may not know this, initially when we started the preference policy, and I want to say thank you to the partners that we're still working with PCRI, so they are still a community partner of ours, and they have some preference policy families that they're working with in counseling. And we also have worked with Hacienda CDC, we've worked with NAYA, we've worked with African American Alliance for Home Ownership and Proud Ground, specifically to help support and build homeowners. Oh, and the 3 Cully Place. So Cully Place was not a specific development tied to the preference policy, but we were able to partner with Habitat for Humanity. This was theirs. It was a 15-unit development, and we were able to get 3 preference policies, home buyers into those units as well. Next slide. So the background of the preference policy is it's a policy set up to prioritize families who had historical ties to Northeast Portland and were displaced due to city action. And unfortunately, the families who were most impacted were Black families due to that city action. And so this chart here shows the demographics, self-identified demographics of families who've been able to purchase through the preference policy. And as you can see, the predominant group are Black or African American families who've been able to purchase. Out of the 116, we've had 100 families. Next slide. And then there is a mix. And so the way that the preference policy works in partnership with Habitat, their lowest AMIs that they target are about 30% AMI, or area median income, which is a calculation of income and household size. And then with the partnership, as I mentioned before, through Prosper Portland, their funding allows us to serve families up to 120% AMI. And so although the prices for homes in Portland have been increasing consistently, as well as interest rates, you can see that there's still been a spread, a fairly good spread for the AMIs that have been able to purchase. And in fact, I'd like to say because of the support, some of the, we've been able to help really, really low families. I think our lowest is actually below 30%. So, next slide, please. So we decided, since we were able to successfully hit that last goal, to extend the goal through 2029 to increase the home buyers by an additional 84 units. With that, we actually have some additional developments that are coming online in the next couple of years. You'll hear about that later in tonight's presentation. But we have around 100 opportunities, at least that many. And so we believe that we can achieve 84 new home buyers by December 31st, 2029, increasing our total to 200 total home buyers being assisted through the preference policy. And that 84 is only including people who receive subsidy. So we're not 84 with no subsidy. Next slide, please. We have some subsidized developments, as I slightly mentioned. We have Cary Boulevard, which is a development that is in partnership with Habitat for Humanity. That will be 50 newly constructed townhome units. That will be 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units, permanently affordable homes tied to a land trust. They will be working in partnership with Proud Ground to manage that land trust. The other subsidized development we have is what we currently call the Abbey site. You'll get a little bit more detail about that later as well. That's going to be 8 newly constructed townhome units. And then we will have down payment assistance loans. We currently have some down payment assistance loans, which are a 30-year silent second mortgage. In the ICURA, or the interstate corridor, the DPALs are the award is $150,000. And that is broken down into a home improvement grant, which is 10% of that award, that goes up to 20%. So that would be a $15,000 to $30,000. And then a down payment assistance loan can be anywhere from $135,000 to $120,000, going directly to the down payment. That loan is, again, a silent second for the home buyers who use that loan or that assistance. There is no monthly payment due on that loan. There is no interest. If they stay in the home for 15 years, that half of that loan is forgiven. And then about 3% of the original amount over the next 15 years. If they stay in the home for 30 years, the entire balance is forgiven for that. So that has been a very popular one. And as you can see, we have some that are tied specifically to the ICURA, and then we also have some that are citywide DPALs to help families find something that might be a little bit more affordable outside of the ICURA. Next slide, please. So next steps. Earlier this year, we opened up another round of the preference policy to let buyers apply for the opportunities of the Abbey site, the Cary Boulevard site, and then the down payment assistance loans that we have available. We had about over 1,000 people apply for the preference policy. We actually were able to get that down to about 412 or so, who were able to verify their points and move to the next phase of that. That being getting prioritized based on point order and how the preference policy works. We had 34 families who were at the top of the list with eminent domain, and so we invited them to attend an info session that was hosted by Portland Housing Center over these last few weeks. Of the 34, or 33, so the 34 was an error, there was a duplicate. So I apologize. Someone had a typo, and so there was a duplicate name. So there were 33 households invited. 13 families attended the info sessions and actually have signed up for services and have an initial appointment scheduled through mid-December. And then 2 families rescheduled for the next round of info sessions, which will happen in January after the holidays. And then in that round for January, I'm expecting to invite about 105 families. That says 103, but that's only the 6-point households. So, and then through that, we hopefully will, there is some natural attrition, unfortunately, that does happen, but again, still, we believe that there's enough families in the pipeline to be able to take advantage of the opportunities. And I can say after attending that they were pretty excited about both opportunities, about the DPALs and the new construction units. So I have a good feeling that these folks will stay engaged. So.
Ooh-wee, that was hot. Ira, how many families do we still have from previous rounds working with PHC or PCRI?
Oh, sure. Total, we have about 46 families. So PCRI still has 3 people in their pipeline. PHC has 43.
Yeah, I just want to add in terms of working with the Portland Housing Center has been great for our preference policy folks. Usually for our new oversight committee members, usually it takes between probably 1.5 to 2 years for those applicant to be mortgage ready to then purchase a home. So it takes some time. So we try to meet with them early in the game so that once the development gets completed, they're able to move in and purchase the home. All right, next slide, please. So today I want to talk about in terms of home repair in the Northeast. Our home repair loan program is for folks who own a home within the Northeast. You could get a loan up to $40,000 based on your equity. So if someone has an equity of $25,000, you could get a loan for $25,000. The dollars that we are utilizing for home repair loans is through Prosper. So individual could be up to 120% area median income to be qualified for the loan. The loan is, of course, owner-occupied. You can't get a loan for a home that you're renting out, and so it has to be owner-occupied. Once approved, there will be lien on the house for the amount of the loan. The nice thing about the loan, again, is 0% interest, 0 payment, and at 15 years, you continue to live there, it gets forgiven. So it's a great program to retain and get people to age in place. So just quick process about the loan process is that our housing construction coordinator will go out to the home, do an assessment, work with the homeowner to identify life safety and fire kind of stuff. And then really in terms of some of this requests that the homeowner may want to upgrade, maybe the bathroom, the kitchen, or whatnot like that. And so depending on the critical repair, we want to take care of that first and then work through some of the elective upgrades that the homeowner wants to see. We then get a bid from our contractor, at least 3 bids, and then we will work with the homeowner to select the lowest bid so that they can start to work. And so it's a process that may last between 4 to 6 months. Next slide, please. Since we receive all the funding from for the home repair loan, we have given out 82 home repair loans since 2016. So it's great to be able to see 82 families to see some improvement in their home, to see stability within their home. With the 82 home repair loan, that's $3,159,000 roughly dollars towards the home repair. When you look at in terms of the demographic, 37 were Black African American. 3 were Asian, and 2 with more than 1 race. 34 were white, and 6 people declined. Next slide, please. So currently we have 20 open projects in terms of home repair loans. So out of the number of 82, we still have 20 that's not accounted for because the 82 is completed home repair projects. So we have 20 that's actively currently working on by our neighborhood housing preservation team members. We have 9 folks on the waiting list, and so we're in the process of hiring another housing construction coordinator. This will increase our capacity to do more work within the Northeast in terms of home repair. So we're excited to see that. We're hoping to get the staff in probably December, January, and then be able to focus on home repair work within the Bureau. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Good grief.
Don't touch it.
I'm not going to touch it anymore. John, could you just touch a little bit on the lead grant?
Sure. Yes, so our lead grant that we had started in 2020, 2021, that ended it in July of this year. We had about 3 months to be able to close out that lead grant, so we recently just closed out that lead grant. I was very happy to see, in terms of Molly Les, which is our lead program manager, to be able to utilize all of the HUD dollars that we received for that grant period. We applied for the new lead grant in August, and a few weeks ago we were awarded the lead grant. The last lead grant was about $3.6 million for 3.5 years. This second round, this next round is $7.75 million, which is the biggest lead grant that the Bureau have ever received. The $7 million is for lead remediation. $750,000 is for Healthy Home Supplemental. It's going to be a 4-year grant rather than 3.5 years. I'm assuming that this next lead grant will start January. With this lead grant, we're going to be able to hire 2 new staff. One is housing construction coordinator. The other one is the program specialist, to be able to, again, help serve our Portlanders who have lead within their home with a child under the age of 6. And the homes is really in terms of older than 1978.
So I just want to say in front of everybody, and while we're being recorded, that that's the largest lead grant that the Bureau has ever received, and it's because John put some magic on it. We are now calling him the money man down at the Bureau, because everything he's applied for, he's gotten. So if you need to buy a lottery ticket, John is the one.
Thank you.
John, question for you. Are we seeing an increase in people looking for home repair? Since you're talking about hiring for that, are we noticing that that's turning up?
Yeah, I think in terms of after COVID or 2023, 22, we saw a decrease because, again, it was not a lot of contractors out there working. We had not the capacity to do a lot of home repair loan program. And so as we start to build up and more contractors are working, we're going to see an increase in that. And so we continue to have application and to have a waiting list so that we could go through them. There is a need.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And quickly for you, Ira, 84 new homes as a goal. What does that translate to in terms of dollars and cents? Do you know?
No. Yeah, we can get that number. So essentially, the subsidy for the development, I can say that the ones that we're counting, which are, I guess, total would be 58 units. Those are about $150,000 per unit in those developments. We are also working with CDP and SEI in a partnership. So the Bureau is not putting dollars into that development on the front end, but we will support at least 12 of those units with DPAL dollars. So once those units come online, we'll be being able to allocate an additional 12 DPALs, which equates to about $1.something million. 1.8, thank you.
That's Williams and Russell, not CDP. You said CDP and SEI.
Oh, yes. Sorry. CDP and SEI is the Abbey site, Williams and Russell Group. We will do that. So that's 1.8 million. We currently have about 1.3 million in interstate right now. We have an additional, and that's PHB dollars. We have an additional roughly 500,000 in STR, and then we have another $1.2 million from Prosper Portland.
And STR is?
Short-term rental fee. So the short-term rental fee is the funding source. So we would like to thank all the verbos and.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to go to the online team and ask Ms. Holden, do you have any questions or comments? Hearing none. John, any questions or comments from you?
one question. Now, is this home repair money, is it just for the confines of the housing, the Bureau, or is that to the general public, the home repair dollar?
The home repair dollars is for the Northeast homeowners. And so we would be managing that fund and working with the homeowners to get the repair done.
Okay, and so anyone could apply, right, and the public at large, as long as they live in the Northeast?
Correct. And then, of course, the income level would be up to 120% area medium income.
Okay, and again, congratulations on that first-time award for those amounts. I've been a part of a couple of those over the last year, and it's good to see that Oregon is attracting such good vibes.
Thank you, Mr.
So,
Washington.
again, congratulations. And also, I didn't get a chance to congratulate Leslie for the work that she's been doing earlier, and Dr. Holt. I do appreciate the work you guys have been doing. I wished I could have attended. I'm just getting back from my hunting trip, and but I didn't want to miss this meeting tonight for sure, because it looked like it was some exciting stuff getting ready to take place. So anyway, I'm looking forward to still hearing more of this information. And you two guys should open up a TV program or something between the both of you. You know, because every time, you know, you guys come together, you bring some really interesting information. So I appreciate you both here.
Thank
you.
Thanks, John. I appreciate that. And we would have loved to have you here, but I understand hunting takes, you know, the priority that it takes. We're going to take a break for just a moment because we're going to switch over some technical things. So if you'll just hang on for a second, and then we'll continue with questions and feedback from the committee.
Recording stopped.
No, I promise. I would
Recording in
never skip
progress.
you, Jillian. And we're back. Jillian, questions, comments?
Yeah, they started recording. I have a few. So the 150,000 is for down payment assistance loan, right, per household. What is the amount that is for the development, the ground up construction?
So the construction per unit subsidy that we're providing is about $150,000 per unit for the new construction. For the DPAL, if I'm understanding your question, of the 150,000, unlike our other subsidies that go to non-preference policy buyers, there isn't a developer fee that's tied to that. Again, but there is a home improvement grant that is a requirement of that of the TIF dollars. So
my question was, when we first started doing the DPAL and the construction for home ownership, the amount of money that was allocated for new construction was greater than the amount of money that was allocated per unit for down payment assistance. And what I hear you saying now is that it's the same.
yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarifying that. And the income limit on the down payment assistance or the affordable home ownership is 80% AMI or 60?
So for
Depends on the project.
It depends on the project, but for the down payment assistance loans that are our dollars, the home buyer can earn up to 80% if they're purchasing a 2-bedroom or smaller. If they purchase a 3-bedroom, then they can make up to 100% AMI. If they're using the Prosper Portland dollars,
It's higher.
yes. Oh, I thought you were saying speak up.
Yeah.
That's the universal sign, like in the mic. So if they are using the Prosper Portland dollars, their dollars are the range of 80% to 120. So higher income families will be able to purchase, and there isn't a bedroom size requirement allocated to that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The last thing I want to say is just a couple of lessons learned over the last decade. So first, with the DPAL, with new construction, it's really important that the developer knows to leave something for the grant portion, whether it's picking out countertops or appliances or whatever the sticks and bricks are. We ran into home buyers ran into a little bit of a kerfuffle when we first were working on this, where they would go and they bought the house and there was not an understanding that there was still work to be done, that work that needed to be done with per the terms of the grant. So just to bring that all back to everyone's top of mind, that was a bit of a kerfuffle before. So just to remind the developers that that's how it works would be great. And then I'm really excited about this new homeownership goal through 2029. And I will again make the plea that y'all land bank. You don't have to know exactly what's going to happen with the land, but it is not getting cheaper. It has not gotten less expensive to become a homeowner. The pace of both interest rate growth and property values has drastically outpaced the income increases. And if we had land banked much more aggressively 10 years ago, this would be not nearly as challenging a goal. So I just really recommend that with these dollars, we really consider buying land, buying homes that are lower value, fixing them up and putting them into the preference policy, because if we wait until buyers are ready, if we wait the 2 to 3 years for these homeowners to be ready, $150,000 will no longer be enough. So I can hear Dr. Lisa Bates sitting here saying that. And so I am just going to keep flying that banner that we really, really need to consider land banking as much as possible, that's going to make this process more smooth for home buyers 3 years from now when they're ready.
Awesome. Emily's going to respond to that.
Yeah, thank you so much for that comment. I want to just let you know that before the TIF districts were adopted, the City Council adopted a housing production strategy. Within the housing production strategy, there are about 10 strategies that fall under the PHB goals. The very top of those is creating a land bank. So it's my expectation, and we've been discussing it internally, that will be one of the first things we bring to the new council as a strategy for this coming year. So we really do see the value of land banking. We think it's important to not only resource it financially, look for funding for it, but actually create the infrastructure to make it an ongoing effort of the city.
If you need help at that meeting, reach out, please.
Thank you very much. Kevin, any comments or questions? I'll come back to you.
This is my first meeting, so congrats. This is amazing work. Ira, when you were talking through the info sessions, I think you mentioned, being excited about the engagement of these households, and so curious if lack of engagement or sort of falling off through the process is an issue that we see in this, given how large the wait list is, and then if so, kind of why do we think that is?
Man, that's a complicated question. The reason why I was excited, I want to address that, Nick, because I think it also will address Jillian's comments about listening to the buyers, is with the first 2 rounds of the preference policy, the development and the design of the units were already established. So we presented it as, this is what you get, or you can take a decal, right? There wasn't really a lot of back and forth engagement. I was excited because of that in the previous 2 rounds, folks tended to skip over the new construction units during the info sessions and focus on the down payment assistance and where they could buy and how that worked. This go around, we didn't have that. We didn't have the designs, we didn't have the renderings or anything like that. And so there was this balance of people asking questions about the new construction units. And so one of the things I was excited about is knowing and being able to express to them that the developers of the units have chosen to actively engage with potential buyers for the design to see what they want and see what they need. And I think that made a difference with that. But as John mentioned as well, sometimes what occurred is there's a natural attrition, and that can occur for a couple of reasons. People get discouraged because of the market, they get discouraged because of their situation, or their situation changes. They could do something as changing their mind, or they don't like what their options are. And so folks tend to disengage as well. Regardless of how much I try to encourage them to stay engaged. But I think for the last two info sessions, because we had two, the people that attended seemed really excited about that. And so that made me excited because it seemed like they heard stay engaged, stay engaged, stay engaged.
That's great. Thanks for the context.
Thank you.
Ramon?
Yes, I do have a quick question, and there already might be an answer out there somewhere, I just don't know. In regards to the home repair loan, which I'm assuming is available to everyone in Northeast community, how does that work in relationship to the preference policy? And are there sources or resources for people to use that kind of qualify for the preference policy?
So the home repair loan is available to everyone that lives in the Northeast who is a homeowner. So if you're on a preference policy or you're not on a preference policy, you're more than welcome to apply. It's first in, first out type of stuff. But your second point, I didn't understand your question on the second point.
Are there any tools or resources for people part of the preference policy to help apply for this loan?
Let me try to answer it. So the preference policy specifically doesn't apply to home repair. It only applies to people getting onto the rental list or to the home ownership list. But once they purchase a home, so folks that have purchased a home through the preference policy, they are eligible, once they become a homeowner, they are eligible to apply for, if they buy a house on the market and in a couple of years, it's like, oh my gosh, I need to fix something, or I have a water leak, or, it freezes and now my pipes have burst. They can apply for either a home repair grant or a home repair loan up to the amount of equity that they have in the house. But there is no direct correlation between the preference policy and home repair, but it doesn't exclude you if you're on the preference policy, you've purchased your home through the preference policy. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay.
And I just want to make a correction. So it's really tied to the interstate corridor. So within that interstate corridor, IKERA district for eligibility to the home repair loan.
And I can say that we have had preference policy buyers utilize the home repair.
Excellent. Ms. Virgie, any question or comment?
No.
Perfect. Thank you.
John has his hand raised.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Thanks for that, Hope. There were just two questions that I had. One was about the lead removal, right? So just to be clear, what I think I'm hearing you say, that the households that qualify for that loan need to have children in them?
That is correct. So homeowners, of course, their average, area median income has to be less than 80%. They also have to have a kid in their home less than the age of 6 years of age, or they could have visiting kids. So a grandparent may live in an older home who have their grandkids visit them would qualify also.
Explain why.
Okay, and that's general public also?
I'm sorry?
And that's general Northeast public.
That's for everybody who lives.
Oh, yes, for citywide. And the reason, the purpose of the lead grant is really in terms of.
Within the Northeast, right?
No, this is for citywide. The lead remediation is for citywide. And the purpose of the lead grant is really in terms of to remediate the lead hazard poisoning for children, right, for under the age of 6. Because that could create a lot of health problems within kids who are exposed to lead, either in the soil, the paints, or whatnot like that.
Perfect. Thanks, John. Well, thank you, T, for the report. We are running past time, but I think we'll be able to make up some time.
John,
Oh, I'm sorry. You're going in and out.
can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Well, there was one last part of that question was when he did his original presentation on the asset acquisition, but I remember maybe 4 or 5 months ago, we have a conversation about inventory. Do we have any inventory left from any of the previous developments that are still left out there?
No. So because we reached out to the preference policy on multiple occasions to see if folks were willing or interested in those available units and did not. So we released the units, the remainder units for Habitat and Proud Ground to purchase. And I can say that I can't remember the exact date. It was a couple months ago, though, that the entire development has been filled. So currently there are no
So, 'cause there
vacant.
were, okay, there's no vacancies left. Okay, thank you.
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to go to our preference policy update with Divisha Gordon. Divisha, are you there? You're still muted, Divisha. I'll tell you what, we'll come back to Divisha. We'll go ahead and talk about the Lucy Corbett and Thomas Eldridge Community Development Partners, the Northeast Project presentation. Oh, you're unmuted now. Okay.
Yes, it directed me right after I hit the unmute button on my device.
Very good.
I apologize for that. Good evening, committee members. My name is Divisha. I'm the Housing Program Coordinator at the Portland Housing Bureau. I'll be joining this evening by phone due to some technical difficulties I'm having logging in, so I appreciate your patience. I will be providing some updates on the rental and home ownership list and briefly touch on the Security Deposit Grant Assistance Pilot Program with the promise of more information to come at the next meeting in January. If we can go to the second slide. So for the rental applications, since our last meeting in July, we had a total of 2,822 applications that had been submitted. We currently have 3,171 that have been submitted as of today. That's an additional 329 new applications that have been added since our last meeting. And for home ownership, as we know, we had 1,057 applications that were submitted, and we have those numbers for you. As mentioned before, 412 families that verified for preference. So just breaking down the point system, just want to explain how the point system works for anyone who is unfamiliar, especially for our new committee members and our new colleagues that have joined the Bureau. The preference policy, in the preference policy, the point system is closely tied to the geography and the impact of urban renewal within the Interstate Corridor Urban Renewal area. The area most impacted by urban renewal projects are given special consideration in the point allocation process. So they get a range of 0 to 6 points that one can earn for providing addresses that they lived at in their childhood or in their adulthood. So it could be a formal or current address, in addition to an address provided for an ancestor that can be the ancestor's current or former address, and the ancestor can be living or deceased. Families who currently live or used to live in those areas typically receive the highest number of preference points because this policy aims to prioritize those who are directly impacted by those changes. What we see in this slide is the breakdown of applications that were submitted by those point cohorts, 6 being the highest that one could earn, that one application can earn, and 0 being the lowest. As you see, we have had more weighted towards the 0 point cohort. That, of course, speaks to the need, but we have seen a bit of an increase since the last time we met, and those that applied for the 6 point cohort. We had about 38 more families apply since the last time we met for the 6 point cohort. We had 19 more for the 5 point cohort, about 31 more for the 4 point. 40 more families have joined in the 3 point cohort, and 39 have joined. 39 more families have applied since our last meeting, and for the 2-point cohort and for the 1-point cohort, we had about 17 more families join. And of course, the total was about 1,447 in the last meeting, and we had about 165 families that have applied since then for the 0-point cohort. We can go to the next slide, please. So just to provide a brief update on Security Deposit Grant Assistance Pilot Program, first I'd like to take a moment and ground us and just try to overview of what the program is. It is a partnership between the Rental Services Office and the Preference Policy team, in that the funding is coming from the Rental Services Office to support the families on the North-Northeast Preference Policy rental waiting list. It's designed to support the families by providing funding for move-in costs and security deposit. This covers things such as moving trucks, moving supplies and packing materials, the cost to clean the units that they are moving from, childcare, and other costs associated with moving. The program launched in January 2024, and it is continuing to go until the funding runs out. How it essentially works is once the family is granted approval to lease or gets a intent to lease, or if there is now just a good-natured feeling that the person has is going to pass the second phase of the application process after a successful background check, the housing provider will submit a form called a referral form with that intent to lease to United Way. United Way will then financially assist the family with up to $1,000 for those moving related expenses. Next slide, please. So just a little bit on what we've done today. What you see outlined as an image in the 5th slide is the flyer. We're excited that we have the flyer available. It did take some time, and it also did take some retooling and reworking of the process to ensure that it works for individuals so that they can have the funds applied more proactively going forward. The flyer is available to our partners to distribute and to raise awareness. It does highlight how eligible families can access the funds. We've included some program details in our current handoff communications as well to make sure families know about the process. That is being communicated by way of a FAQ, so to speak. We let people know once they're referred to the housing provider that these are funds that are available. So we're not as heavily reliant on the housing providers to provide this information, although they do have the flyer, and as they're working closely with the families, we're encouraging them to inform folks in to sort of boost the promotion of this. I do anticipate, as to about the date, we've had about 30 to 31 families that have been served through the program. I have another one that may be pending. The quarterly report has been finished. It finished today, so I will have more data and details for you in the January meeting. Next slide, please. In the 6th slide, you'll see the breakdown of the applications that were submitted by point cohort. We did go over this at last meeting, but just to break it down for the folks that are joining us, any community members that might be joining us, for the 6-point cohort, we had 187 folks. 5 points, we had 123. You can see we had 177 4-point and so forth. We have still weighted in the 0-point cohort about the heaviest, but we have folks positioned on the list. We have folks positioned on the list, if we remember, 6 points to 0 points. So those, although the numbers are a bit heavier as we get to the bottom of the list, we do have a significant number of folks to work with at top that are prioritized for this opportunity. Very pleased to announce again that we had a total of 137 households that applied for priority status in this round. Next slide, please. As promised at the last meeting, I indicated that I would provide a breakdown of the verified by point cohort. We had about 412 families verified. in the 6-point cohort, very proud to see the 3-digit numbers, about 103 of those families verified. We got a little lower as we go down the line, but we did have about 34 people verify 33. I want to take note to the typo that was there for one of our families. So it is about 33. Please note I note the correction in the revised presentation, families that verified for priority status. And to provide context for what priority status is, those are the families that have been impacted in a way beyond the point cohorts, they themselves or they are descendants of families that have had homes taken from them as a result of past city actions. Examples of this include the constructions of Veterans Memorial Coliseum and the expansion of Emmanuel Hospital, just to name a couple. Next slide, please, if we're on slide 8. And I'm not seeing them, so I hope that it is following the pace. I might have missed saying next slide in one of my notes there. So if we are on the
You're doing
slide,
perfect. It's right on pace.
Almost. I'm sorry?
You're right on pace. They're keeping up with you.
Right on. Oh, wonderful. Okay, we are pivoting, so I'm glad it's working out. So we're on homeownership waitlist phases. Just to take us, grounding us a little bit again, what the process is for the homeownership waitlist. We have the application phase where families are filling out the application. They can submit this online. Online is most recommended as it has the tool that calculates people's preference points. People can also submit a hard copy application and send it in by mail, or they can bring it in person to us. The next phase is the verification phase. That is the heavy lift phase. Shout out to Shariah. That was a very heavy lift, and she led that independently with some support, but she processed those documentations, and a special shout out also to the admin team for their support on that as well. This is where families are providing supporting documentation to verify the eligibility for the preference points they applied for. Those documents typically include government issued photo identification and proof of address, proof addresses, and any other relevant documentation. We ask folks to provide something with their name on it and the address that they provided for themselves, and something with the ancestor's name on it and the address they provided for themselves, to keep in line with the policy to ensure that we are prioritizing folks who were in fact impacted. Through that phase, we offered about three or more. I will follow up with those numbers. It feels like it's some time ago. Information sessions to go over that. Some of those were well attended. A few had low attendance, but we were very proud to be able to offer that. That's something different we did this year. And we were able to give families on the list that were higher on the list about 3 months to submit documentation. So each time we communicated that there was a need to submit documentation, a deadline followed. For those who did not submit documentation, there was one final opportunity to submit again in August, and then we were able to conclude and process from there. The next phase which is where we are. We've concluded the verification phase. We're in the preparation phase. So this is where those families that have verified are then referred to Portland Housing Center. First, they go, of course, to Ira and John, their team, where they will then be invited from them to go to an information session. And then they will receive the support they need from the home buying specialist at Portland Housing Center to assist them in preparing for the home buying process, providing any guidance or support that they need, as well as determining their eligibility for the home ownership opportunities that have been made available. Slide 9, please. Home ownership waitlist update. So just to give a brief touch point on where we are currently in the preparation phase, as mentioned before. Actions that have been completed, the first round of appeals. For context, the first round of appeals went out to the individuals who sent in documentation, but it would have qualified them for less points than they initially applied for. They were given another opportunity to submit documentation so they can restore their place to the list. That was a good opportunity for us to provide further explanation on what these points mean and why this process exists. we had that has been completed. There has been a status update sent to families, letting them know if they're on the active or inactive wait list. Those on the inactive wait list are given the opportunity, because we know things happen. We know things get lost in the mail. We know our upload links it may not have worked for folks due to had a pretty strict deadline. So it cut off the next day after the deadline, and folks were unable to upload, or technological things where there's a broken link. So we know that people, we anticipate that people would have challenges submitting things. So through the inactive, those who are on the inactive wait list, are given another opportunity to say, hey, if you believe that this is an error and you should be added to the list, submit your appeal. We'll work with you to get you reinstated. Folks that are notified that they were active on the list, we've gotten very good responses from them. People are excited. And then people, of course, have questions. And we have people who are ready and who are eager and who do seem to be staying engaged. So that is something that is a bit of a highlight in this round that I've observed over the past few years, is people do seem to be getting more and more engaged. Mind you, the 2019 round was going into the pandemic, so it could likely be that the excitement wasn't there as a result of that. But as we are still currently in the pandemic, but still mostly moving towards sort of, I guess, resettling, so to speak, is the best way to say it. I see more excitement from families and more people who are eager and prepared. The next part the next action is referrals to neighborhood housing partnerships, team. Ira and John, and all of the Ira and John mainly, for them to continue referring folks to Portland Housing Center and inviting them to the information session. Upcoming actions include the second round of appeals that is in process and being led by Program Manager Ms. Leslie Goodlow. And we'll go to the 10th slide. And I thank you and welcome any questions or concerns from committee members or attendees to ensure clarity and address any issues.
Thanks, Davisha. I will start by asking if Ms. Sheila has any question. No? And I don't see John. Oh, Miss Sheila.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, I see John.
I'm just excited about the report and where we are. I'm excited about the interest now, the level of interest, and how consistent you've been with getting people into the program and giving them good opportunity to have ownership. So thank you.
Thank you. John.
No, I appreciate her thoroughness. Definitely in depth and revealing. So thank you very much for that. And yes, the work still continues.
Miss Jillian.
A lot of really exciting homeownership updates today. And I don't want to take up, I know we're keeping to our schedule today, but there's a lot going on in the affordable housing community, in discussions, and the banking community about the preference policy on the rental side and the struggles that our nonprofit partners are having turning units quickly or getting to conversion. For anyone who doesn't know me, I also do affordable housing development, but not in Northeast. And one of the things, one of the pieces of the layer cake that we build to build an affordable housing capital stack are tax credits, which have really explicit deadlines and requirements. As everybody knows, one of the issues that have been brought to this committee are security issues, which are expensive to fund and fix. And so I would just like to have a conversation about what meetings PHB is having, what changes we can make, what improvements we can make to how we're handling the rental wait list so that we're not seeing units go unoccupied or with really long turn times before they can be reoccupied. And if this is not the right time to ask that question and we want to push it to our next meeting and have like a more robust conversation, I'm happy with that. But it's coming up a lot. I've heard from some bankers that they don't want to do any new loans in Northeast or any on a preference policy building, which is really disheartening to me because this preference policy is really important and it's not going to go away. So we must make it work. And it's highlighted in, I don't know if, in HUD's publication as a way to, like, we are highlighted as a way to bring more equity to our housing projects. And so it's disheartening. On one hand, I want to hold up like all of our successes and accomplishments, and I'm so proud of it. And on the other hand, we have to make it a little, we've got to figure out the flow.
So Jill, just so that I can understand, excuse me, Chair. But,
That's okay. Go ahead, Miss Sheila.
So you're saying that the banks are saying that because we are having issues in the preference policy area with security, they are not wanting to do financing?
No, ma'am. It is more around vacancy rates being higher in a preference policy building or unit turns taking longer in a preference policy building than in a non-preference policy building. And there's a lot of reasons for that.
Right.
One is just the way that the wait list is, how long it's taking to get through wait lists to get units leased. And so, like I said, it's kind of a big conversation. I don't know if we want to have it right now, but I want to throw that out there.
No, I appreciate you bringing it up.
Important to discuss.
It's a conversation we've been having, and very much looking forward to, and it may just be the meeting itself that we have the time to talk about, begin to unpack, and start trying to work through it. It's absolutely something that has to be addressed. And we're talking about for rental units. We're talking about the challenge associated with rentals, not home ownership. And so two different dynamics around how it impacts the community and those who are in the spaces, the partners that are building the homes for sale. It's a great experience. The partners who are building the apartments, it has a variety of challenges that we need to think through and partner with and support to work through that. Helmi, you've got a comment. Leslie has a comment. And then I want to go back to the home ownership piece and try to get us back to time. So, well, we're not going to get back to time, but we're going to.
Well, yes, thank you. This is a very important question. It's something we have been hearing as well from the lending community as well as from the developers in Northeast. And I just want to speak first to values, our values at PHB. When we were first approached on the issue, the concern has been that it takes too long to fill units, the rental units from the preference policy, that there's a delay in getting people into the units, and that's creating a cash flow problem for the properties, which means they can't hit their deadlines for their tax credit system and they can't pay their loans properly, which is a very important value. We think that the financial making the financial work for affordable housing is a very important thing, and so that is a priority for us. The solution that we were asked to consider was to waive the policy. We said we will not waive the policy. So the second value is how do we actually make the match work between the folks that are on the preference policy that are wanting and needing affordable housing and the housing units, trying to understand the mismatch. So I would just say that those is the values that we've taken into this conversation. That was our first discussion that we've had with the developers as well as the lending community. So we are working through some approaches, both some short-term approaches to addressing immediate vacancies. So we've come up with some approaches to address the immediate vacancies and sort of stop the cash flow problem in the near term. And then we are also taking a look at some longer term strategies that will address sort of structural problems that we've realized now that we actually have a lot of units to fill from the preference policy. So with that, I'd like to just say Leslie's been leading the work here, doing exceptionally good work, both finding resources as well as thinking through how the preference policy might change.
So a couple things, and I'm going to be very quick, I promise. The first thing we heard from our preference policy buildings and affordable housing providers across the system about safety and security. And we put out an RFP for people to apply for funds. We're pretty sure we're going to be able to start getting those funds out at the first of the year to folks. A little more money than we thought we were going to have. We initially thought we were just going to have $1 million. We got a little more than that, so we're going to be able to cover more buildings, better cameras, and replace doors, and better security. So we've heard people in buildings say we need some help around security. The other issue, and we've brought this up multiple times, is that the population that we're trying to serve doesn't make enough money for a 60% unit. So the average income for Black families in Portland is $48,000. And a 60% unit for a family of 4 is like up to $70,000. So every time the AMI goes up in Portland, which we imagine it's probably going to go up again in 2025, we're looking at $120,000 for a family of 4 at 100%. So when you have a family making $48,000, that puts you at about 40% AMI. You still make too much for 30, and you're really cost burdened at 60. So that's part of the system that we really need to look at, is how are we going to, we've built all these great units that the folks we built them for can't afford. That's a larger conversation. But the last thing that I'll say is that I have asked Divisha to put together a plan for us to change how we're managing the list, that we will do the notification, because people seem to respond better to PHB than they do to other folks, to the leasing agencies. And then the people that respond, then we send them over to the property management. So they've got maybe 20 people that they need to deal with as opposed to 300. We're seeing better. I did a couple of test runs, and we got pretty good responses from, I sent out emails to about 300 people. I think we got 50 people that responded that said, yes, I'm really interested in a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, or no, I need a studio and that's not on the list, so keep me on the list, to see how that would work and see if that would make things better. But again, it's a subsidy issue that's not going to be fixed just by list management. But it is a larger question, and we are thinking about some other strategies, and I would love for us to take January or March meeting to just have a conversation about how do we make things better.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And as always, if they want to form a subcommittee or you just want a sounding board for someone who's been both a banker and a developer, you have my number, Leslie.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Back to the ownership piece. And Kevin, any question or comment?
Nope.
Nope. Ramon, thank you. Ms. Virgie, any question or comment?
I like hearing what Miss Leslie shared. It was more or less like a case study. And when I hear a broad problem without any details, it's really hard to try to fix. So I would hope we would solicit the people that have the problem to give us specific data so we can really hit it or try to make improvements with vacancies, because the program is working for our population. But this one aspect of it isn't working. But I don't feel comfortable really trying to do anything until you get more data that we can see what we can do.
Thank you very much. I think that it's clear it's definitely, it merits its own time and energy and focus. And so we will look at how to prioritize, how quickly we can do that. Absolutely. Next on our agenda is our Northeast project presentations from CDP and SCI. Thank you for hanging around. Apologize about getting to this moment, but please take what is necessary to communicate. And good evening. Who is first?
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Great. I'm Lucy Corbett. I am a development manager with Community Development Partners, and we're going to present the Luther Strong Jr. and Dr. Jackie Strong Empowerment Village first. And I'm actually going to pass it over to Kai Liang from SCI to kick off the first few slides.
Thank you, Lucy. I don't see the slides on the screen yet.
Lucy, your screen is showing black. It's blank.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. It says I'm screen sharing, but you're just seeing a black screen?
Yep.
Let me try this one.
Lucy, let me know if you want me to share the slides.
Can you see the slides now?
Yes.
We can see it now.
Okay, great. And Kai, just let me know when you want me to advance.
Yeah, I will do.
We don't have them here. We do have a handout, so we'll be fine.
Great. I'm here, Lucy will present the Luther Strong Jr. and Dr. Jackie Strong Empowerment Village for most recent update. And this is the direct name coming to Strong family with their direct input. So we can go to the next slide, Lucy. And as Lucy just mentioned, she is the leading senior development manager for CDP, and I am the housing development director for SCI, and together we are leading the current project progress. And a little background information, you can see our general contractors are with Colas Construction, architect are Host Architect, and our property management is with Guardian. And you can go to the next slide, please. Little quick background of SCI. I'm sure many of you are familiar with our work. We are the largest African-American-led nonprofit serving multiple youth and family services. And we're also the second largest minority operated employer within Oregon. A philosophy and service model is in self-actualization. Best known quote is life has options. As mentioned, we have 42 years of history, and we're partners with 23 public schools in 5 districts across Sonoma County, currently serving 16,000 K-12 students annually. We also will lead the resident services and programming at the Strong Property Building. Lucy, I'll let you take over the next slide.
Whoop, sorry about that. Thank you, and apologies if for those who can't see the slides. Just a little bit about Community Development Partners. Our organizational mission is to create life-enhancing affordable housing with a focus on long-term community engagement. We do hold our properties for the long term, and we partner with organizations including SCI, Hacienda, NEA, and NARA for our Portland properties, and other organizations for development outside of Portland. We are a certified B Corporation, and our portfolio is over 4,500 units. Currently have completed 19 projects in Oregon, 9 of those in Portland, with another for in the under development, either under construction or pre-development here in Portland. On the last two slides, we're just showing you a couple images of the properties that SEI and CDP have worked on already and completed. The Ronnie Herndon building and the Paul and Geneva Knowles building were our Alberta Alive Phase 1 property. And the Dr. Darrell Milner building recently completed and opened. That's Phase 2. And then we're here tonight to talk about the Strong Empowerment Village. And here just a few images of that groundbreaking, which occurred on October 22nd. We had many members of the Strong family at the event, which was wonderful. And also just an image of kind of what the site currently looks like. We started construction on August 26th. We're roughly 5% complete at this point. We've been working on demolishing the structure that was still existing on the site, and clearing the site, grading the site, and we've recently begun our work on underground utilities and foundations. So that's the current status of the development. We are scheduled to complete construction in the first quarter of 2026. Here's just a snapshot of the makeup of units and affordability in this development. It is 75 units, all rental. We have 11 units at 30% AMI, 64 units at 60% AMI, 72% of the units are 2 and 3 bedrooms, so this is really geared towards families, and all of the units will be part of the preference policy. And I'm going to hand it back over to Kai.
And SEI will be the lease service provider for all the residents in here. As Lucy mentioned, this is a family-oriented building, and our history and specialty is at building community and working with the people at the Northeast neighborhood. And we want to create a home, not a unit, that is welcoming, safe, and responsive to their needs. And there are a couple of goals that we have in mind. And first of all, we do have a resident service coordinator that will be operating across the units, including all the buildings on Alberta Street. We'll help them with employment services, seeking and maintaining a stable income and employment. There will be a lot of children and child around the neighborhood. We'll make sure they receive academic support, social programs, and after-school activities through FCI services in campus. We will provide whatever the families and parenting need they have, including early learning child learning programs, parenting programs, and also helping them with government benefits and support system, guiding through the process and applications. And the most important, we want to build community. So we will connect our SEI's community and family programs with all the residents there. At the end, our goal is to enhance the quality of life who live in this building and build a strong community here. Lucy, I'll let you take back next.
Thanks, Kai. And we just wanted to finally highlight just the Northeast housing strategy. This project, again, all units will utilize the preference policy. Our development team partners, our general contractor, Colas Construction, and our lead designer, Holst, are Black-owned and women-owned firms. Our current MWESB subcontractor numbers are 29.17% on the hard cost side. We are looking to increase that to a minimum of 35%. through construction, and on the design services side, we're exceeding our commitment with 78% of our contract dollars being awarded to certified firms. And then just again, we've completed 3 projects, CDP and SCI together, and we're looking forward to completing the Strong Empowerment Village as well as the Abbey homeownership project, which you'll hear about a little bit later tonight. We're happy to take questions.
Thank you very much.
If there are any.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Great slides and an exciting project. I will defer to our remote team first. John, any comment or question?
Yeah, the question that I'm having is this arrangement with SCI on this project the same as the previous arrangements with the other 3?
Yes, it's we have an arrangement where we are both co-developers and co-owners in all of these projects.
And is it still true that in that original contract that you guys were majority shareholders, majority owners of the property?
Still, CDP still has the majority role, yes. And we've had a slight shift from the first phase in terms of increasing, SEI's ownership has increased in the second and third phases, but CDP is still the majority partner.
Thank you.
Ms. Sheila. Thanks, John.
Nope. Excited to see the project go forward.
Thank you very much. Jillian?
That's really exciting. Congratulations on your groundbreaking and getting the project moving this far.
Kevin?
+1.
Ramon?
No questions.
Thank you. Ms. Virgin?
No.
Excellent. We were there on that sunny afternoon and had a shovel in the hand. Grateful that it wasn't rainy and like today. Excited to see things moving. I mentioned it the day I was there. That's the old stomping ground for the neighborhood. So excited about what is going to come out of a community. I like the way it's been identified. So thank you very much. Let's talk about the Abbey Townhomes.
Okay, I'm gonna try and share my screen here. Can I get a thumbs up? It's working.
No thumbs up. There it is.
Okay. Go full screen. That's good. Oh. Oh, geez. Sorry about this. Probably having the same problem that Lucy was. What's going on? Okay. You see that? Is that full screen? Sorry, I can't see folks right now.
I think it'll work.
Okay. Can you see the one with the slide on the right? That one?
We're seeing it as presentation from your view, but it's fine.
Okay. What's going on here?
Technology is great when it works.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Right, let me try this. Excuse me.
Well, Thomas, I think you're going to be okay because those who are online can see it well, and those of us who are here have handouts. So we're okay.
Sorry about this. It's slowly loading. Right, as you'll see, I haven't got any notes, so if I trip up, you'll know why. Okay, so you can see me and you can see the slides in a weird presentation style, but Abbey Townhomes. So quick note before we get started. Lucy and Kai did a great job giving the overview of our respective organizations, CDP and SEI. So this is focusing solely on the project, which we're going to dive into straight away. This is a for sale affordable home ownership project. So different from the last one I presented, which was the Dr. Darren Milner building, and also slightly different from the Strong Family project as well, which Lucy just presented as well. So if we keep going here. Okay, so our teams, as shown here, you can see my face. I'm a development manager with community development partners. Also from Self Enhancement Inc., we have Pooja Dalal. She's a housing development senior manager, so she'll be working on this project. And also my colleague Swan Wilson, a development coordinator with CDP, who actually does most of the work. Additional team members, so obviously it takes a village, it's not just CDP and SEI. We have Proud Ground, they'll be acting as the community land trust holder for this property. So they will have they will be the ones who will be applying the long-term affordability covenants on the site to make sure that the units are affordable, not just when we sell them once they're developed, but also when they're resold in the future as well, which is obviously incredibly important. Our general contractor is to be determined. One of the challenges that this project faces is the finances. Please say we do have a clear path to closing, but part of that is making sure that our construction costs are kept in check. So still a little bit of work to do there to identify the right contractor. Architect is a local Portland-based firm, Scott Edwards Architecture, who CDP has had the pleasure of working with on several projects. And then finally, big shout out to Portland Housing Center and all the work that they're doing as of today, which, you know, I think that there's people going into informational sessions who could end up buying these houses, going into informational sessions this month who could be buying some of these houses in about 16 months is pretty exciting. So that is the team. Keep going here. So development overview. I think probably one of the bigger milestones which prompted the meeting today is we were awarded some OHCS home ownership funds in June. They have set aside $1.6 billion for this project. PHB have also upped their commitment to the project. So we originally had a grant from PHB for $1.2 million, and they've recently awarded us another $440,000, which has actually made it feasible for us to financially close this project in Q2 2025, which is that third bullet point there. I'll jump back to the second bullet point. We're hoping to conduct some community engagement sessions here in the next month or so. So really trying to work with the community to be informed on what prospective homeowners would want to see within and outside of the units. So I know we've been working with Ira Bailey on that to see if we can maybe dovetail with some of the Portland Housing Center's community sessions and informational sessions as well. And then finally, if we do start construction in Q2 2025, which we're feeling pretty good about, these units will be available for purchase in about Q3 2026. And then, as I just mentioned there, the challenge is the financial gap, which we don't really have, but if construction costs exceed our budget by the end of the year, then we're going to have some challenges. Just real quick on those renderings, I need to put a caveat on them that we have some value engineering to do. Albeit this isn't actually a hugely expensive design, it's just a very good looking one. But this is going to give you a flavor of what we're looking at developing at the property. Something which I didn't touch on is actually the location of the property. So sorry about that. That's the location of this site. It's about 3 blocks east of the Strong Family property. So it's actually opposite Community Development Partners headquarters. So it's currently serving as a parking lot. So it is, yeah, and it's on Alberta Street as well. So keep moving on here, and this is actually my last slide here. All right, I'll start with the highlights before we get into the numbers. The table and the graph kind of complement each other. So just on the highlights real quick. So I think I mentioned that we have 8 units here.
Can you
Go
hear
ahead.
me?
Yeah.
You're still on slide 1 in the presentation. You haven't moved forward with your slides. I just wanted to let you know.
Right. We're going to just go like this then. Thanks,
No
Pooja.
worries.
I'm going to go back. So I know folks in the room have handouts and that.
Yeah, if you click on slide floor, we're right with you. So
Okay, all right. For the folks who are joining, Pooja, can we see that on the screen? Slide 3?
Yes, now we can
Okay.
see slide 3, yes.
Great, thank you so much. So the folks who are joining remotely, this was the slide I was referring to with the renderings and the potential value engineering. So this just gives a flavor of what the project could look like. And I'll go back to slide 4 now, which I know people in the room have the handout. Okay. So just touching on some of the highlights to do with the development, I think I'd mentioned we have 8 3-story townhomes here. They're all going to be 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. Right now, each unit would have a dedicated parking spot, but I would just caveat that subject to our community engagement sessions, that could change, albeit it does seem that that would be an important feature. Every unit also has its own backyard. And then the 4th bullet point there, every unit will also have an accessible ground floor bathroom. So a bathroom which is large enough for if a family member was in a wheelchair or needed more space for accessibility needs, they'll be able to access bathroom on the ground floor instead of having to walk upstairs. Every unit will come with washer and dryer. And then finally, the one which I really hope we don't value engineer is we have a balcony on the 3rd floor, which is where the master suite is and the ensuite. So when kids go down, parents can kick back on the balcony and watch the world go by. So that's a nice feature which we hopefully we can keep. Okay, just touching on the table here, and I'm going to go into some of the numbers and then just briefly touch on the graph at the bottom right. So we mentioned we had eight units. Going on to the 3rd column there. So we're still learning how this affordable home ownership comes together. Right now, the units are going to be available for households which earn between 65% and 80% AMI. However, the sales value is set at 65% AMI for a household of 5. So just as an example, if a household of 2 earning 75% AMI wanted to purchase one of these units, they would still purchase it at the same value of the 65% AMI with a 5-person household. So today's value, and that can obviously fluctuate as the AMI increases, today's value if these were being sold would be $283,000 for a 3-bed, 2.5 bath townhome. Just some very high level comps that I did on Redfin. So this is not an appraised value, is I would expect the market rate value of these townhomes, and I realize this is a big spread, is going to be between $500,000 and $800,000. And we'll come back to that in the graph here shortly. I did notice on Redfin, there's actually some townhomes on Mississippi, which are getting sold for $1 million, which is pretty crazy. So that just kind of gives a spread for market rate value of the units. The area of the units is going to be around about 1,400 square foot, but we still have a lot more design work to do. And then finally, that gross monthly house payment, that is sized as 1/3 of the income for a household earning 65% AMI. And that gross monthly house payment includes HOA fees, insurance, the community land trust admin fee, taxes, and then the net monthly mortgage payment for your principal and interest is around about $2,050 a month. So there's also some money in that $2,290 for other things as well. Okay, so the graph just on the bottom right, I think the biggest takeaway here is this is related to Proud Ground's affordability model or long-term affordability model. And the really big takeaway is just how the blue line, which is the market rate value of the unit, starts to trend away significantly from the gray line, which is the affordable sales value price. So in the example we've given here is if this one of our units was sold at $283,000, but it was appraised at a market rate value of $500,000. Come year 8, if the market rate value of that property increased 5% year on year compounded, it would be sold on the market for about $700,000. But using the affordability model that Proud Ground use, the affordable resale value of that property in year 8 would be sold at around about $330,000. So by working with Proud Ground, I know Habitat for Humanity do it differently, but it really does keep that affordability down to make sure that people in the future, when the homeowners do go to resell these, they earn equity, both from the resale and obviously the principal they pay down on their mortgage, but also importantly, it makes sure that the person purchasing it after them is purchasing an affordable unit as well. So that just highlights the impactfulness of the Proud Ground affordability model. So apologies that this presentation hasn't gone smoothly with the slides. I apologize about that, but we are now open to questions and I'm happy to do my best to answer them.
Well, I was so impressed with your last presentation. I'm going to have to take points away for this one. Thank you for taking us through it. We appreciate the work, Thomas. I will do what I've been doing. We will start by asking our remote partners. Ms. Sheila, any question or comment in regard to this?
Come on.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. I couldn't hear it. Just my screen was acting up.
Yeah.
The cost is, even with all the subsidies, is high. But it's the market we're in, I guess.
Is that the, sorry, is that the $283,000?
Yes.
Yeah, so that is sized, the way that the sales prices are sized is it's all to do with there's several factors which get taken into account, which is the average median income, but then there's also things like interest rates are taken into account. But at the end of the day, no matter what the sales value is the gross monthly house payment will always be the same. So there is a risk with the home ownership units where, I'm trying to think, if interest rates were to go through the roof, the price would come down because that monthly payment stays the same. When I say risk, I mean risk of so I think that, yeah, the most important factor here is that gross monthly house payment. That will always be the same no matter what the price of the house is. Hopefully that helps get out.
So the interest rate isn't set when the home is sold?
When it's sold, it would be, yeah. But the sales price that we are showing today, it's based off today's interest rates. And they're obviously going to fluctuate between today or they may not, and when they get sold.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
Now, is there any backyards in these houses?
Yes.
So they butt up on that lot. It's not very deep, so they butt up against each other from the backside. Like is it back to back or front to back, or how is that?
So there's actually right now, and subject to change, there's actually like an alleyway between the backyard of the townhomes you can see.
Okay, so there's a space. So the total square feet of most of these homes are what?
Is 1,400.
1,400
square. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Jillian.
Thank you so much for this presentation, and it's really exciting to see these heading out also. I just want to, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I want to thank SEI for their creative solution with the Strong property. I don't know if everybody knows, but originally they actually brought this lot to the party with the RF or the NOFA for the rental units. And because we were able to get the homeownership here, we were able to get an additional 20 rental units on the Strong property site. And that's, you know, in the middle of a housing crisis, it's an amazing thing to do. And I just really appreciate it and really excited to see these moving forward and so quickly. And yeah, that's it. So just thanks so much. This is really great. I'm excited.
Kevin, thanks.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thanks for the presentation. Super exciting.
Perfect. Ramon?
No questions.
No comment.
Thanks, team. I do have one. Curious as to the absence of a construction team, right? General contractor. Is there a particular reason why Colas is not that general contractor, since Colas is working on other projects?
We're finding that the larger contractors have larger overheads. So we're trying to find a smaller contractor with a smaller overhead just due to the sensitivity of the project. So we're still working through that.
I appreciate it. I would presume then that the commitment is to secure a general contractor that is MWESB, et cetera.
Yes, the MWSB goals for this project will be similar to the Strong property and all the other projects as well.
Okay, well, we'll be curious to see how that works out. Thank you very much for the presentation. We will keep our eye on it.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Leslie.
All right. So,
you've got 3 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Instead of talking about the newsletter, which hopefully everybody got it, it was beautiful. Gwen is doing an amazing job, our communications team at the Bureau, Gwen and Gabriel. So shout out to them for continuing to produce a wonderful newsletter. And our 2 new members were featured in the newsletter. Did you guys get it? Okay. No, Kevin, you didn't get it? Well, I'll send it over to you. All right. Well, the real thing that I wanted to put in front of the committee tonight is we've had a couple of requests from buildings that to have a temporary waiver of the preference policy. The Darrell Milner building, which we heard about earlier, has 18 units that they need to have leased by December 1st or December 31st. I can't remember, so they can correct me. Oh, are they? No, they're not all gone. Are they? No. Kai's still there.
31st.
The 31st. Thanks, Kai. And we are proposing to, or recommending that we give them a waiver for the remaining units so that they can get fully leased, they can meet their tax credit deal, and they are committed to securing tenants from SEI families that may or may not be on the preference policy list, but they are likely down farther on the list, so they haven't been sent over to them yet. And this would give them an opportunity to get fully leased, and then when the units come back so if somebody moves out of one of these units, then it would come back into the preference policy. So we have the Dr. Darrell Milner, and then
how many units on that?
There are 18 units.
Thank you.
And then a second one from Innovative Housing. They have 7 units. 5 that are currently vacant and 2 that are slated to be vacant this month, the 28th and the 30th. Again, requesting a short-term waiver. They are also committed to BIPOC folks. They did an amazing job with Magnolia 1 that did not have a preference policy associated with it. That building is about 67% BIPOC folks without the preference policy. And Eric is on if folks have any questions, but we need the committee to vote to support these 2 recommendations. We do have quorum.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. I was going to go to our team, so Ms. Sheila.
I support the waiver for the two properties.
Thank you very much. John.
How many of these have we done in the past?
Several.
Yeah.
Well, we've done 1 or 2 units at a time. So over the course of since I took over the team, probably 40 units, but a lot of those have come back into the preference policy. So they don't stay, folks don't stay long. We probably have about 25 that are still from an original waiver that people are still living there, which is a great thing because we want to keep the buildings leased. But we have seen units come back into the preference policy and then get leased up from folks on the list.
Leslie, does these kind of decisions compromise the integrity of what we're trying to accomplish with the preference policy?
Well, that's hard to say, John, because I know that these buildings are struggling because the folks on the list that have been the most traumatized generally are those people that have a lower income. And so if these buildings fail, then the preference policy fails. And so we've got to find the right balance between managing the list, getting people into units, enough subsidy, and keeping these buildings stable so that they don't fold. And so we're trying to figure out what that right combination of things are in order to ensure the success of these buildings.
That I could understand. But again, when we create constructs, that we believe have an intention and an aim, it just gets hard when you start making concessions.
I agree.
So, but in this particular situation, I understand the difference between having the asset and losing it.
Right.
So with that, I'll vote to agree. But in the future, ones that come in, I think you'll get a little bit more difficulty out of me than that because I just understand the integrity of some of these structures. So anyway, I vote yay. Let's do what we got to do.
Thanks, John. Julie?
Did you say which IHI building?
It's Magnolia 2.
And can you tell me what the unit sizes and the AMIs are on these?
Certainly. So IHI, they have 1 and 2 bedrooms, and they are all 50 or 60% units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 units, 1, 2, 3, 3 at 50% and 4 at 60%.
Okay. And the Darrell Milner building?
The Darrell Milner, they're all at 60%, and they're all 2 and 3 bedroom units.
Really?
And they range in size from 805 square feet to 1,172 square feet, which is almost the same size as my house.
Yeah, I agree, John. It's hard to, we work so hard on this preference policy, and these waivers are always, like, they tear at my heart. But I also understand, are they both on a tax credit deadline, or Magnolia 2 needs to lease up to meet financial covenants?
They have some financial situations that they've got to meet so they need to get fully leased.
Got it. So just so everybody knows that when it's the tax credits, if you are shy on 12/31 at the end of the year by 1 unit, you lose tax credits on the whole building for the whole year. And so that end of year deadline is really make or break for a lot of buildings. So I will vote yes. And thank you for sharing the AMIs. I think that highlights what we were talking about before, that the people who are in the preference policy, who are the ones that we most want to serve, are not the ones that are able to afford the 60% units. And that is in order to make it more successful than it already has been, we'll continue to work on that. But I vote yes.
Thank
Just
you.
one other piece of information, just so for our new members, the market rent on a 3-bedroom is $1,713 a month. So that's what we're facing.
Kevin.
Yeah, I am supportive. Vote yes. I think from the discussion earlier, like this might be an opportunity to use this as an example for the discussion when we do have this sort of bigger discussion around how do we avoid this happening. Like, can we kind of look at these examples and say how would we treat these differently moving forward, or what do we need to change about the process to not have this happen the next round? So just but vote yes.
Thank you very much. Ramon.
I would like to recuse myself from any decision-making on the Del Milno building, but for the Magnolia site, yes.
Yeah. You want to explain why for the Darrell Miller building?
To give context, I am the office manager at Community Development Partners.
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Virgin?
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, team. Before I give you my perspective on it, I just want to make a couple of comments. I can't remember when we sat with City Council, and I talked very explicitly about the need for 40% units and 50% units. That the buy down, that the subsidy needs to be increased in a way, or the projects or the structure, policies or systems need to be increased in such a way to address the very thing you're talking about, John, the integrity of the work that we put in to create this policy to address and lift the most vulnerable people in the city. We've been spending our time and years. We fought for this policy. We fought for the forgiveness of the loans. We fought for the things that you heard about tonight. After 15 years, 50% gets forgiven on a DPAL, and then after 15 years, money gets forgiven on a loan, home repair loan. That came out of this committee. That's the work this committee has been doing. And so I'm concerned about the integrity of what we have created, but at the same time, we have to be realistic in terms of what's happening with costs and how we address those costs. So this isn't just merely a moment to go, yes, not that we're doing it by any stretch of the imagination. It's also a moment to highlight the disparate things that are happening to our people and to the folks who need the help. I say all of that because this is being recorded and I have significant concern around our new government. We have a tendency to forget where we came from. We have a tendency to forget what brought us into this moment. We have a tendency to forget those who suffered in front of us and those who've labored to bring us to this place. And we make determinations from what we see in front of us. We have a city council that's coming into the place, into a space, into a responsibility, who has very little clue of what we have done for the last 10 years. We have a lift, I think, to educate our representatives. We have a lift to educate and be engaged with those who are now going to be making decisions that are going to inform policies around this work. I would hate for the integrity of what we have built to be lost at this moment. Regardless of what is popular, regardless of what may be the current atmosphere in the city or even in the nation, those of us who have given our years, Jillian, you've almost been a part of this for the entire time, right? You came in pretty early. Those of us who have given our years to fight for folks who can't fight for themselves. If ever there was a time for us to be bold, courageous, and fearless, now is that time, and not compromising around this work. So I agree with the waiver, but I agree with the waiver with a caveat. The caveat for me is that we advocate very diligently and very specifically with decision makers around affordability. 40% units, 50% units, so that we don't lose out what we've spent our time crafting and creating. So you've got a vote that is in support.
Documents for you to sign since you approved it.
What say you, Derek? Boy, you're sounding more seasoned every day. You know, but yeah, I'm in agreement. So anyway, but we'll talk about it in future meetings, I'm sure.
Yeah, we've got work to do.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. You were asking me what?
Eric was the only person.
I know we had opportunity for public comment. And I don't know if there's anyone.
Eric.
I saw that was Eric, but I thought he was a contingent.
No, just to ask him if he still had.
Eric, did you have public comment?
Another person's gone.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. Eric Lisa, Director of Asset Management with Innovative Housing. First of all, Leslie, thank you for bringing the recommendation to the committee. And committee, thank you for your consideration and approval. Yeah, just to add context, you know, we have third-party management at Magnolia too, and we've been facing operating challenges. To speak to the rent levels, we've actually lowered the rent levels from the maximum over the last several months to further entice applicants from the wait list. And that hasn't been proven to be successful, you know, by $100 to $200 under the maximum levels at 50 and 60%. Yes, again, just thank you for your time tonight and consideration, and I'll leave it at that. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate your comments. To the Oversight Committee, thank you so much for your work tonight. To those who have stayed in the audience that is virtual, thank you for participating. I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning that we had soup and chili and mac and cheese and cornbread and just salad. Warm, delicious food here in the room. And
What you're trying to say is they missed out, right? Y'all missed out.
I'm just offering
And gumbo.
the idea that part of what we have crafted, while I do it tongue in cheek, part of what we've crafted is an intentional way to engage with our community. Our effort is to be as thoughtful as possible and create a space where the voices of those who are impacted can be heard. And so I make mention about the food because we want you to be present. If you can be present, we'd love you to be present. There is something powerful about being in the space with the people who are benefiting from the work and or who have questions about the work. I'll close with this. It has been a decade. It's been 10 years. When we began this process, we had no real idea of how deep the impact was and how much time it would take to help families become ready to purchase homes and even to secure rental units, homes, doors, family spaces. We've learned a lot and we've gained a lot. And yet, it feels like we've just tossed a pebble into the ocean because the work only continues to grow and the need only continues to expand. It's an opportunity for us to advocate to take care of the least of these. I'd like you to join us. Roll up your sleeve. Let's go to work. Have a good night, everybody.
You know you hurt me with the chili part, man.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah, same there. You know, you didn't have to tell me how much food was there.